Good afternoon. Welcome to our live trading event. We're going to trade FOMC together, where the Feds talk about institutional lending and monetary policy, and the markets will be moving in a large way today, especially with all the things that are going on in the world. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for us to take advantage of, and but it should be fun because it's going to be some high impact, big moves. It's going to be moving quick, and so I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun trading together. Let's just have a little prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for your kindness, your goodness, your grace, and your mercy. Father, please provide me and anybody else that's trading with wisdom, discernment, and good discipline to follow our trading rules. And please let it be a good session today. In the name of Jesus, Yeshua, amen. Let's get at it. I'm going to pull up my trading platform. All right, you guys got that? This isn't our standard session. We usually are starting to trade at the New York Open, and we trade that daily during the week. But this is a special one, so I don't know how many people will have show up or if any. But either way, it's going to be good. The statement will be in 5 minutes from, or just over 5 minutes from now, and anytime between now and then, the markets should really start to pick up. And so what we're going to do, because this is going to be high impact and lots of big movement, or there should be, we're going to just start out by increasing our take profit size by a little, as well as our stop losses. That's to accommodate. I want to get a feel for how the session starts out to see if we get, like, I just don't know exactly how it's going to start out. So I'm going to start out wider with my variables. I'm going to start slower with my entries. And then as the session starts to progress and we get a feel for it, then maybe we can shrink down our variables a little. But I think we're going to start out with, so 50 pip stop losses with 3 pip take profits. And we're going to follow my methodology that we trade every day, and that should bring in some profits. So unless we get a real rogue market that just runs, which is possible today, then we might have to take a hard loss. But if that doesn't happen, we should have a good high probability of making some profits today. So I am going to, this is our session from earlier. This is our New York Open trading, and we had a really big, strong move. This move over here was 60 pips, or even all the way from the top, it was 65 pips. So that was a really big move, and we just barely hung on without hitting stop losses through there. And I had 35 pip stop losses. So I'm going to bump it up to 50, and then hopefully we can avoid having to hit stop losses today. The whole goal of the way that I'm trading here is to take our losses in control on our accord, on our timing, not using the stop losses for risk management. They are there as safety, but the idea is that we take losses as the market's coming back to us so that we can take relatively cheaper losses and just in control. When we do that, our losses end up being cheaper than they would be if they were hitting stop losses. And so that allows us a lot of flexibility and opportunities to make profits. And so you'll see as we start getting going that you'll start to get a feel for how this is going to work. So I don't have much of a bias on where the market should go. I really don't. So I'm going to really just be playing off of technicals on the chart, and we'll look for good levels. Like earlier, we blew past the 1.15 level over here, and we dipped all the way down to the 1.149 level and bounced off there this morning. I imagine these levels will play a pretty good role in this afternoon's session. And then we've got the highs of the day. Those will likely play a big role in today's session as well. So we could be moving quite a bit. We've got a 65, 70 pip range to probably play inside. Unless we start to, if the market finds a bias and a direction and it wants to start heading one way or the other, then we'll likely break those, the lows or the highs of the day. So we've got a minute and a half before the statement. And then I'm just going to pull up my phone so I can pull up Forex Factory and I can see what's happening in real time. 30 seconds from now. Five, four, three, two, one. The spreads are jumping. 6, 7, 9 pips. Okay, spreads are starting to head back down. 1.5 pips. Down to 1, back to 1.5, down to 1. It is 3.75. It is what was forecasted and expected. So this initial move at the moment is starting to break to the upside with a wick on the bottom. So I think on the pullbacks, we'll start entering into some longs. Only on the pullbacks though. And I'm going to just get rid of all the things I've got going on this chart just to clean it up. And let's just get rid of these lines. All right. Clean start. Just going to put a couple markers in. That was the low of the day. That's the high of the day back over here. And then somewhere in the middle, price has bounced off here, 1.153. And let's see, the 1.152. Let's see how those levels play, see if the price action bounces around in these lines. We'll see how it responds. So we're pulling back now. I'm going to add a buy. And we get started. My platform has a bit of a delay for the entry, but it is not delayed in executing the taking profits or the hitting stop losses. So there's our order, it's in there, and we've got our green line as a take profit. It's the target we want to hit to make some money. So I'm just going to be slow to enter as the market starts to find its groove and its rhythm. We're starting out at 0.7% in our session today in the account. I traded earlier today, and so the balance is 1767.06. I'm going to get into another trade right here, another buy position. We'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what's happening as these 1 minute candles start to print out on the chart. And we are just taking profit on our first trade. So if we go look at our orders history, we just made 29 cents. They should be around 30 cents. They'll be, just depends on the slippage and the timing of things, but they should be around the 28 to 30 cent range. Or sorry, maybe 25, 26 cents. So we did good making 28 cents on that first one. So we just have one more order on right now. And I think because we don't have a rate change at the moment, we may end up getting more volatility in 25 minutes when the press conference starts and people will be asking questions. I think we might start to see a little bit more action at that point. But we don't know. At any given moment, we could have a big swing just enter into the market. So we just want to be aware of that. These events can be seemingly random. Although in the grand scheme of things, the markets are fractal in nature, and they really aren't too random. It's just when these events happen, they start to break the normal flow of things, and they start to make new data points that start to drive the market and start to turn it and shift it sometimes. That's all. We get really high volatility during this time as the market starts to find its groove for the next little while. As this market pulls back and pushes down, we'll get into another buy. And I'm only going to enter the buys as the market is pushing down. Okay, there's a push down. I'm going to enter into another buy. And there's the order on the chart now. I'm going to get rid of this purple line just because it's not really necessary at the moment. It's just kind of in the middle of our price. I want to be able to read the price action when the candles start to break its previous candles highs and lows. That's important data to watch for. So I'm just going to draw some lines in here that should bring us some relevant data to trade off of right now. But these areas will likely change quite quickly in the next half an hour. So this is just for now. So there's some points for us to trade off of. So when the market comes down to this next line, we'll get into another buy. At the moment, we have a nadir candle right here. This is the opposite of an apex candle. And when the market breaks above the high of that candle, that apex or nadir candle, that is the trigger for a 3-bar reversal. And so we've got an indication that the market wants to head up next because it broke the high of that candle. So we'll look out for more of those scenarios. And of course, it is the market. It does not have to continue and follow through at that point. It just starts to give you an idea of probability. So if it goes to break the low of that candle, then there's a good chance that we'll see some follow through to the downside. At the moment, we haven't broken its low, and so there's a good chance we'll still follow through to the upside. So as this market pushes down into that line, I'm going to enter into another buy right here. So now we've got 3 layers of buys. Each layer has 1 trade on it. As we start to extend further down, we will start to enter into multiple trades per layer. Just depends on how we get there. And that will be for the opportunity. This will not be a martingale type system. If it may look like that at the start, but the purpose is we'll get into multiple trades as this goes against us. And when it pulls back, we'll start to take losses on our upper trades and we'll take some profits on the lower trades. And we'll start to mitigate risk. And that process is the process that I use each day, every day. So we're just blowing right through, coming right down into this low over here for now. So we're going to let it see if we can get all the way down there. And we're going to get into a couple buys. 2 here. And hopefully we got them at the low. The candle's retracing already. And you can see our line is actually right there, our take profits. So that's at a good spot. Okay, just took some profit on those. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that top one off for a loss. So we took about 6-7 pips of profit and we took an 11 pip loss. And then as the market drops back down, we'll reload that layer back in. And then we'll see what happens next. If the market just goes right up and pops right through those take profits, those will just be profit. We don't need to mitigate any more risk by taking losses. But if this heads down, then we may need to mitigate more risk again. But this is what allows us to have flexibility in our trading and allows us to take losses when the market's coming back to us. Okay, so now when this market pulls back down again, we'll enter into buys. Okay, there's one pullback. I'm going to enter into a buy. And then if it pops back down onto that bottom where it was, we'll get back into 2 more buys again. And we're just reloading the system back up. And Larry's here. Larry, good to have you joining in. It's always good to have you. see if we can make a little bit of profit during this event. At the moment, it's actually a little bit of a slower start, but we didn't have any rate change at the moment, so I think that's why there's not a whole lot going on just yet. But we know that should change. The action should change in about 10 minutes or so. So we're gonna just start loading up into our system using our methodology to put orders on. And then as that volatility picks up, we should start to take some profits. You want to follow along, Trading Simulated is a good way to follow along, unless you're familiar with this news event and familiar with this way of trading, then maybe you could trade along in a live account, but recommend just Trading Simulated for now. Nothing I do on here is financial advice. I'm just demonstrating what I do on a regular basis. And we've got just under 10 minutes now for the press conference, where there'll be lots of questions being asked, and generally that really gets the market moving. We haven't had much movement at all just yet, so hoping that in the next second half of this hour we'll get some more action. So the market's a little bit stuck at the moment, but if we get another push down, we'll grab a couple more buys at the bottom of the last low. Okay, just 5 more minutes to the press conference. And it seems that the market is really waiting for it, as it's hardly moving at the moment. Still just waiting for it to pop down here and we can get into some more trades, or if we can pop up, then we can just start taking some profit. All right, so we've got this little consolidation now bouncing between these two lines. We can see that there. So I'm going to get into one more trade right in here and see if we can squeeze some profits out of this little bit. It's kind of tight, but there's the market popping up. We have already placed the order. And there's our target just above those highs. Super close. I'm going to just bring this high in just a little, this target, just so we can hit that on a test of the high. Just on that one trade. Everything else we'll just leave for now. Just the goal is to try and squeeze in a trade just inside this consolidation. We got a minute and a half to the press conference. And there's the market just bumping into the high of those candles. right in there. Didn't quite take the profit. And the press conference should be starting now. So there's that profit target just hit. Inside that consolidation, it's just testing the break right now. And we can just see how moving that target in to that consolidation was a good move to grab the profit before it even has to break out. So it took the profit, and now the market can pop down if it wants to, and we could do it again. But it seems like it's just about to break out now. It is breaking up as we speak. And that candle closes with a high above all those other highs. So that's a pretty good indication that we'll get a move up. If not, we'll just take another long as it comes back down and bumps into these lows. So I'm going to move this line down just a little, like that. And then we'll take another trade right down here. The idea is that we're always playing steps ahead of the market. I'm not doing what the market is currently doing. I'm playing ahead of it. So I'm preparing to place trades here. I'm preparing to place them here. And when they get to those levels, I'm trading. They're predefined levels, and it's part of my planning for my system. Okay, as this pushes down into those old lows again, I'm going to get into another buy. Just waiting for it to push a little bit further. May not get it. Okay, right there. I'm going to add the buy right here. And then as the market pushes down into the previous low, get into another buy. Get into two buys here. One. If it pushes back down, I just didn't get on into two yet, so I'm just waiting for it to push down a little bit more. Actually, better hold on the second buy. If it pops down, we may need more ammunition down below. So let's just leave it at the one for now. Just in case this market extends a long ways down, which it could. Better to expect it to happen and prepare for that than to be caught by surprise. Market's trying to break down right now. There's a good chance that we'll go and come down and try this old low from earlier today. That is a good, pretty high probability. I've got my 5-minute chart over here to have that broader outlook. I can just keep looking over here so I can watch that high or that low right here. So I don't have to, so I get a more close-up view right on this chart. So I can see how I'm executing and then see where the market's going on this higher time frame over here. Okay, just taking some profit on that bottom trade. And we had a bit of a false break right there. We had a tail down below. So that's a whipsaw. And we've got the market turning to head back up. So right now that's in favor. So we're just going to leave these trades on and see if we can get back up there for now. If we end up dropping a lot lower, okay, so you can see the energy's coming into the market now. This candle's flickering a lot. There's a lot of participants coming in right now, so that's good. So we can expect to see a bigger move show up on the chart now, any second, any moment. Okay, as this pops back down, we'll re-enter that buy. Didn't quite give us the opportunity just yet, and there's a pretty good pop, and we took profit on that one trade. Just gonna get my finger ready on the trigger here in case it drops down quickly. I'll re-enter into that same position. If it pushes down right there, I'll grab another buy. And then I'll grab one more at the previous low over here. So I just entered another buy. That target should show up there in just a second. And there it is on the chart. So our target's in a good spot to get hit again. Okay, gonna grab another buy down on that line. And there's the order just showed up. Okay, it's tempting to break down again. Just trying that previous low. There's a good chance it will break it and head down. And if it does, we're just gonna let it run down a bit and do its thing. We can expect it to come down and try this low over here. Okay, so there's a strong candle down. We're just gonna still wait a little for it to get to the previous low, which is back over here. We're gonna wait for it to get all the way down there before entering into more trades. Okay. And we're getting this candle closing low and pretty strong. So there's a good chance we'll see more follow through to the downside. So I'm going to get ready to buy as it pushes down a little bit lower. We can expect this to come down probably a little bit further, at least down to this, to here. So that's where I'm going to start to slowly buy in again. I'll get into 3 positions down there. Just getting into the 2nd position now. And taking profits on both of those. So we're just going to wait and see if this has a turning point, because we have a nadir candle below that we're just breaking right now. So we'll just let the market give it time for a minute or two before we do anything else. And then if it pops back down, we'll just get into that same position again. Okay, any push down, we'll get back into that same layer of buys. Get into one here. If it pushes down again, we'll just buy another one. Okay, buy another one right here. If it pushes down again, I'll buy another one. And there. And so now we have a little consolidation zone between this bottom right here and then these few wicks right here. So we've got this zone of consolidation that the market may stay in, and if it does, we'll gain a little bit of profit again, and then we'll take one of our losses off the top. And that will be our way of mitigating risk on our own terms. Okay, we're breaking the day's low. We could see a bunch of buyers step in here. So we'll just be slow to do anything at the moment. We could break down further. But for the moment, we're just going to wait and watch. And we might have to let the market run down again, and then we'll position in for another much bigger, well, a bigger layer down below. Somewhere we'll have to let the market run and find a new area of consolidation. Okay, the market's just sitting on the day's low, trying to decide whether it's going to break down and start creating a whole bunch of new lowers or whether it's going to turn here. It's acting pretty slow at this level, so it's kind of hard to read and decipher what it's going to want to do. But at the moment, we still got to wait for it to decide and show us its cards. Okay, it is pushing lower. I'm going to slowly start buying because it's just acting really slow at this level. So I'm going to also slowly buy. Okay, this is quite slow. Not what I was expecting. But at the moment, we're not just driving past this low, just kind of hanging around it. So as it pushes lower, I'm going to slowly buy again. Okay, I got in one order down there. Okay, another push lower. I'm going to slowly add just one more buy. And then that'll be it for this layer. We're going to have to wait for it to continue pushing down. To add another layer. So just going to have to be super patient at the moment. This is just a lot slower than I expected. Okay, we've had 3 really small candles. And this candle starting to break those highs and starting to turn. So we'll see if we actually get a turn here or if we just get more pushing down. The amount of participants is actually a little bit concerning now. There's not as many participants in here as I expected, and so we could just get this market that just keeps drifting against us in this case. But we will see if there's any. There should be some buyers in here somewhere, and then we'll start taking some profits and also take some losses too. Okay, as we start to approach this round number of 148, I'm going to try and start slowly buy again. And then hopefully we find a spot where we find a turn and we can start to take some profit. So we can take some losses. So there's a couple, and it looks like it's just going to keep going. And it does seem that the market is just finding a direction. Rather than having volatility back and forth, it is just going one way. And that is the nemesis of this method. If we don't get some up and down, then we can't take our profits with some losses. So now, since the start of the news, we've got the news high there, and we've now run 47 pips down without really having a leg back up. So we should get a leg at some point, but we're going to have to start probably taking losses and then flipping into shorts. The idea is that we don't hit our stop losses. The idea is that we manage our way through here and take profits and losses along the way, and we maneuver out of the losses. That's the goal. But there will be no maneuvering if it just picks one direction and just keeps going. So we are just at the mercy of the market to do its thing. I'm going to slowly start to buy up again, see if we can find a turn. I'm just going to extend this one out just a little bit because I don't think it was got at the 3 pip mark. Okay, so it seems like we're getting a few candles of slowing momentum in here again. But our 5-minute candle is really strong to the downside again. So I'm just a little hesitant to start buying just yet. I might let it start to show more conviction on a turn, and then I might start adding into the position a bit then. So just gonna be patient for now. And we're starting to see that in the candles right now. We've got a new nadir candle, which is this one right here. So this is our low that we got to break to keep going down. Right there. And then we've got its high, which is right there. So if we can break that, then we've got an official turn here on the 1-minute chart. And I'll start to add in right here. I'm just going to add a little, one position. Just don't want to add too much in case this is not finished running down. It's such a strong down push that I'm going to have to just be really careful. So we've got this candle starting to break the nadir candle high, starting to try and form our turn. And there's a close on the 1-minute bar, and it's a strong close. So now we've got a good chance of this turning into a market that's going to run up. So I'm just going to raise one of these, take profits up. And then see if we can just hit this layer here now that we've got that close above. So we've got a close on the 1-minute chart. Just need one candle to follow through and hit that stack of trades, but it's really struggling. Now we've got this candle starting to try and break the past couple highs of the previous candles. So if we can break those, we should see an extension to the upside. If we break the low of this candle, then we'll probably see it test back down to these lows again. So this is kind of our new level right here. If we can break below that level, should come back down and make new lows again. Back down to here. Or if we can break these highs, we should see an extension up of some sort. Okay, we've got an attempt to break back down as we've closed below through that line. All right. This is way slower than I expected. I did not anticipate this speed or lack of speed. Now we're starting to get those buyers come back in for a break to the upside. It sound like Sean? I'll take that as a compliment. Absolutely. Definitely just need to be patient. That's something I've learned over the years. We can't rush these things. The market is going to go the speed it wants to go, and we just got to try and match it. Try and get in line with its pace. So that's all I'm really trying to do. Let's try and stay in line with the pace of the market. I can't say it's not difficult. It is hard to, when you just want this thing to go and it's just not going. I can hardly believe how slow this is with all the things going on in the world right now. I really expected this event to be much, much more active. Larry, no, I personally, I'm trying to think if I've used it before. I don't think I have used it. I don't think I have. Okay, well, if we can get another, I'm gonna have to try and pick off the bottoms a little bit better because our targets are just not lining up right now. So either we're gonna need a leg to just come in here and start going our way, or I'm gonna have to more aggressively buy the lows as it's pushing and pushing lower. I'm gonna have to grab those lows the very best that I can and just get a little bit more aggressive at the more precise timing. So I'm not gonna just be buying just at any point. I'm going to be trying to find as that market pushes lower, I'm going to have to try and start buying it more aggressively at the right time, just the right time. We have to be more precise so we can get these targets to start lining up and taking profit. Because there's a little bit of movement here. It's not much, but we should be able to make some. We got almost 5 pips there. So maybe I just need to bump down my take profits because it's a whole lot less than I expected. And if we bump down the take profits, we can probably start earning some profit back. But let's just wait and see if I can get it timed out. On either the next push down, I'll try and time it a little bit better, or we'll just see what happens if we get an up leg. Because we really needed to take some profit on that little push, and it just did not really happen. I didn't find enough of the bottom to take enough profit, and we missed our targets up there. Larry, are you in a position where you maybe just have to use Trust Wallet? Okay, market's trying to break down again. Thing is, I just don't. We've had 1, 2 attempts. This is the 3rd attempt. We could just break lower from here. So I'll just add 1 slowly and see if we get that at the bottom. That should get it, the target lined up with underneath those tops. Okay, so that target is good now. I just needed a bigger stack there. So if it goes down, if it dips down, we'll try and buy some of that up again. Those targets are starting to be in a good position. Just going to require a lot of patience. I'm just trying to buy up the bottoms with a more precision so that we can get our targets lining up to get hit, because they haven't been in a good position to be getting hit, and we need them to get hit. So we're going to have to let this market probably run down again, but we're going to have to more aggressively buy the best spot that we can. It's difficult to buy right when it's pressing down and looks like it wants to break lower. but I need to get them on here if it's going to run back up. So I'm just adding another buy. And just hope that the market has run far enough for today that it will start to pull back. But it could go for another leg lower, so I'm just trying to find that balance here. Obviously, I don't want to be stacking in right at the point where it just breaks down further again. I want to position myself on the breakdown for a much better new position to catch the next pullback. Essentially, what I really wanted and needed to do was on this first run down over here, that's where I needed to buy more aggressively and get those targets hit on that up leg there. That's what I needed to do, and I didn't quite get that. I was a little shy with my targets. Or the market was shy of hitting the targets. We'll extend this little line out. You can see that it is really pressing down into it again. Usually when it does this, we see another leg down. So I really can't buy here. We're gonna have to let it drop again. And that's gonna put us down onto that low over there. I'm just gonna move that one target out of the, or that stop loss out of the way so we can at least go and test that level without hitting stop losses. It's not a great position to be in at this time of day. It looks like we're gonna get stuck in this position probably for quite a while. We're not gonna be able to finish it up in a good time here. It essentially did the thing I didn't want it to do. It just pretty much just went down and didn't do anything else. That was extremely low volatility for an FOMC event. You can see the market's really trying to pop up, and it can't. Here's the wick coming in on top, getting rejected, and that is a good signal for this market to drop down again. Okay, so let's go measure over here. So this run was 62 pips or so. And now this run down is 55 pips. So we're running into that measured move type area where we should start to see a pullback, but it's just going to be so slow here. With whatever it's doing, it's moving so slow. So we might just call it. I think we might just call this a session. I don't know if I want to. I mean, I can maybe just keep this running. But it's the time of day now where the volatility is just going to leave. It actually barely even showed up. Okay, Larry, I'm gonna just try and play this thing out, but I'm not gonna let this keep running now. It's just gonna be so slow. So we'll just call it a session, and we'll get back at it tomorrow at the New York Open, and we'll just see you then. Just remember, we're gonna if that market goes and hits that stop loss, that's the end. But if we can start getting some pullbacks in between, then we'll start just chipping away at those losses. Okay. All right. See you, Larry. Thanks a bunch for coming. Sorry it's so slow. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. Have a good day, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.